Hello, this is a video tutorial for Unit 1, Activity 3. In this activity, we will focus on reading narratives. And the narratives that we're going to read in this activity are going to involve the idea of home again, which is something that we previously looked at in Unit 1, Activity 1. So they're going to start the activity by asking you to brainstorm your ideas about home. And you can use some of the resources here to brainstorm online, or you can just use a piece of paper to write down your thoughts. But the idea is just to collect your thoughts on what you think of when you think of the word home. Okay? If you continue on after doing your brainstorming, we're going to discuss reading personal narratives. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be reading essays that authors have written about themselves. So they're like personal stories that we call narrative essays. And in order to read them successfully, they're going to ask you to go through the reading strategies. And if you click on any of the branches of this reading strategies tree here, you'll get further information on different strategies you can use when you read. This tree is going to pop up a number of times this semester, and it's going to be important that you know these reading strategies, not just when you do readings in this class, but also for, say, midterm exams or a final exam. I would expect you to remember these strategies. Okay? So you might want to take notes on them. If we continue on, as mentioned, you're going to read narrative essays that all deal with the idea of home. And so you're going to choose one of these three essays. I would take a look at all three. They're not very long. They're pretty short. But eventually you'll choose one of these three. Okay? And then what you'll do is you'll answer reading response questions for that narrative essay. So again, you'll choose either the place I call home, when all of us are home, or the importance of neighbors. And whichever one you choose, you'll answer these three questions. So you can just copy and paste these questions into a Microsoft Word document or into a Google Doc and answer them and submit them. And just take a quick look at the questions. The first question is going to ask you to describe the situation facing the writer and to provide two specific examples from the essay to support your description. So all three of these essays are going to be the author writing about him or herself. And so you should be able to describe the situation that they're facing because they're writing about themselves. Okay? Question number 2 says, what lesson can the reader learn from this personal narrative essay? Provide two specific examples from the essay to support your points. So whichever essay you read, what do you think is the overall lesson, the most important thing that the author is trying to teach us, the reader? Okay, and then provide two examples from the text that show that that lesson is present. Okay, and then 3, to whom would you recommend this personal narrative essay? Explain your reason for why you would recommend this text to this particular audience, and as always, include examples from the text to support your reasoning. So when you read one of these three personal essays here, who do you think would get the most out of this text? Can you think of someone specific in your life? So maybe your mother or your child or your husband or wife. Is there someone specific in your life that you think that this essay would relate to, that they would particularly like it? Or it doesn't have to be a specific individual. It could be a group. Would you recommend this essay to teenagers, or would you recommend it to senior citizens? Would you recommend it to immigrants or to people that have a particular type of job? Just see if you could identify a specific audience that you would recommend this narrative essay to. Okay? So again, answer the 3 questions and submit them to the Dropbox. If we continue on, there'll be a little reminder here about reading strategies, and you'll be asked to think about how you used the reading strategies up here when you did when you did these 3 readings. Okay, those reading strategies are going to pop up again and again this semester, so it's important that you remember them. Next, we're going to take a look at something called paraphrasing. And paraphrasing means taking words from somebody else's writing and putting them into your assignment and then properly citing them. And so they're going to give you an example of an original passage written by James Lester, and then they're going to give you an example of how a student could take that and put it into his or her own words and then cite it and still give Lester credit. So you're taking somebody else's words, turning them into your own, but you're giving the original author credit because it was his or her own ideas that you're using. You're going to need to practice paraphrasing here and kind of understand paraphrasing, because you'll have to put at least one paraphrase into your assignment in this activity, and you'll have to use paraphrasing again later this semester. And so if we continue on, they'll give you 5 steps for effective paraphrasing and how to write proper paraphrases. And then lastly, we get to the big assignment in this activity. You're going to write a 3rd draft paragraph. And so you're going to identify the main idea and 4 supporting details from the personal narrative essay you chose to read earlier. So again, which one of these 3 essays did you read? If you want to do a different one than you did for the reading response questions, that's fine, but you can do the same one if you like. But just choose one of these 3 narrative essays, identify the main idea and the supporting details, and then write an information paragraph based on that narrative essay. You've already done 2 information paragraphs this semester. This one's going to be different in one sense. You're going to be asked to incorporate 1 or 2 paraphrases from the narrative essay that you read. So again, it's important that you understand paraphrasing here, because you will have to put a paraphrase in your paragraph. Just as the other paragraphs were 8 to 10 sentences, so should this one. And you should follow proper paragraph structure. And then when you're done with your draft paragraph, you, as always, submit it to the Dropbox, and I will provide you feedback. If you have any questions about this activity or about the assignments, please let me know.